Hey guys, it's Miss Delcambre. So today's Wednesday, March 10th, and here's a rundown of what we did today in class. We did our homework check. 16.3, we did our notes. We watched a Mr. Burger video in class. We did a little practice, and we worked on our homework. So you'll need your paper, pencil, and a pen, your journal, glue, and your notes on 16.3. So we're going to talk about area formulas today. So let's go ahead and get a look under the document camera. So what I did here is I went ahead and cut up my notes. My notes kind of look like this in some sections, and you know that I like to show my work and show it big. So that's the reason why I cut them up. So we're going to be talking about area formulas today. We already know our area formulas for a triangle, trapezoid, and parallelogram. Now we will be given an area and we need to figure out what a missing piece is. And how we do that is we first and foremost, we write down our formula. So you have to know your formula, and one of the key things to be successful with geometry, guys, is first write down what the formula is. Then fill it in and then solve and go from there. Okay? So if I'm looking at my notes right here, let me zoom this in a little bit. It said the Hudson High School wrestling team just won the state tournament and has been awarded a triangular pennant to hang on the wall at the school gymnasium. The base of the pennant is 1.5 feet long and it has an area of 2.25 square feet. What is the height of the pennant? So if I'm looking in here, I'm looking for some, it looks like a long, big word problem, but just search for some information here. Okay. So this information, they want it right. They were awarded a triangular pennant. So triangle tells me what shape I'm dealing with. So then I can figure out what formula I'm dealing with. The base is 1.5 feet long, and then the area is 2.25 square feet. So what is the height of the pennant? So as you see, the book shows you first, you want to write down the formula, just like I said. Then you're going to plug in what I know. Give me one moment. Let me lock the zoom in place on the hover cam. So I plugged in what I was given. So it's given that 2.25, which is area, so it's going to take the place of that A. And then that 1.5, that is the base, and I took the place of base and they wrote it 1.5. So then the next step, you're going to solve it. So you're going to solve on the left side, gives you 75 hundredths times the height is equal to 2.25. And remember, you want to get the variable by itself, that height by itself. So you divide each side by 75 hundredths, and you would get a height of 3 feet. So do you see that they wrote the formula down, they plugged in what they know, and then they solved it, and then you're able to get the answer. Okay, here is another word problem that the book has given us. So a garden is shaped as a trapezoid. Do you see they drew a shape of it over here? With an area of 44 square meters. One base is 4 3/10 meters, and the other base is 10.5 meters long. The height of the trapezoid is the width of the garden. How wide is the garden? So again, the first thing they did was write down the formula. And once they wrote down the formula, they plugged in what they were given. Well, they knew that the area was 44 4/10. 1/2 was given times your height, and then the bases, which was 4 3/10 and 10.5. They did order of operations. I got to do what's in parentheses first. I found that to be 14 8/10. Then they halved it, because I can half 14 8/10 to give me 7 4/10. And then to get the height by itself, you divide each side by 7 4/10, and you got 6. So the height there is 6. Okay, so let's do some examples on our own. So Renee is sewing a quilt whose pattern contains right triangles. Each quilt piece has a height of 6 inches and an area of 24 inches squared. How long is the base of each quilt piece? All right, so if I'm looking for some important information here to help me solve this, I know that it involves a triangle. Okay, so we're dealing with a triangle. Each piece has a height, so 6 inches, and it has an area. So I'm missing the base. So what I'm going to do first, just so I can visually see it, is I'm going to draw a triangle. I'm going to draw a right triangle. So I have my right triangle drawn right here, and I'm just going to go ahead and label it. So, let me just put a little box there to tell me it's a right triangle. So the height is 6 inches, and the area, so the area is inside. I'm just going to highlight this to show that this is the area, and this is 24 inches squared. Okay? All right, so the first thing I need to do is I'm going to write down my formula. So my area for a triangle, area is equal to 1/2 base times height. That will never change. So now I'm going to plug in what I know. Well, I know my area is 24, so 24 is going to go where that A would be. It's equal to 1/2. My base, I don't know, but I know my height is 6. So I'm going to put 6, and then I'm going to put B right there. All right, so now I'm going to solve. So over here, I can have 6, and that's going to give me 3. So 24 is equal to 3 times B. So again, I need to get the base by itself. So I've got to think of the opposite operation of multiplying is dividing. So I'm going to divide each side by 3. So I'm left with my base is equal to 8 inches. Hold on for 1 second. Okay, let's go back to it. There we go. So my base is 8 inches long. So the base is 8 inches long. It's not squared inches, it's just inches because it's one dimension, one of the dimensions. It's the base. Okay. Right. Do you see how I rewrote my formula? I plugged in what I know, and then I solved it, and I was able to get what was missing. Okay. Let's go to the next page. And it says the cross section of a water bin is shaped like a trapezoid. The base of the trapezoids are 18 feet and 8 feet long. It has an area of 52 square feet. What is the height of the cross section? Okay, so I've read the product. I'm going to analyze. I'm going to see what's some important information in here. I'm going to identify that it's a trapezoid. And it's talking about the bases of a trapezoid, which I have 2. So they gave me 2 measurements. And it says the area, that's important detail. So my area is 52 square feet. What is the height of it? Okay. So I'm just going to draw a picture just so I can kind of visually see of a trapezoid. And it's a water trough or a water bin. It's a trough. There's another way to call it. So then I'm going to label it 18 feet and 8 feet. And then the whole area of it is 52 square feet. All right, so now I have a visual depiction of it. Now I'm going to write the formula. So this its formula is just a little different than a triangle. But area is equal to 1/2 times my height times the sum of my bases, base 1 plus base 2. Okay. I'm going to plug in what I know. So I'm just going to kind of zoom out so I can see the picture as well. So I know my area is 52, so 52 is going to go where that A is equal 1/2. I don't know what my height is, but I do know these bases, so I'm just going to put these base numbers right next to it. 18 plus 8 times H. Okay? So now with the order of operations, I've got to do it in parentheses first there, and that gives me 26. So that would be 52 is equal 1/2 26 times my height. Okay? So I can get rid of this half of 26 by making this 13. So now I have 13, and then I just bring everything else down, just like order of operations, guys. Bringing it down. I'm working it until I get a single digit times H. All right, now something times 13 is going to give me 52. So how can I figure that out? Well, I can divide each side by 13, leaving me with h. And if I come over here, 52 divided by 13, that gives me 4. 4 times 3 is 12, carry a 1. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5, so it gives me 4 exactly. So h is equal to 5 feet. I'm sorry, 4 feet. I'm going to put 5. 4 feet. So the height is 4 feet. Okay. My last question that I'm going to do on my notes, guys, is a parallelogram shaped field in a park needs sod. The parallelogram has a base of 21 and a half. Okay, there's supposed to be a little dot. It doesn't show up when it's printed. Meters and a height of 18 meters. The sod is sold in pallets of 50 square meters. How many pallets of sod are needed to fill in the plate? Okay, so I've read my question. I'm going to analyze. I need to identify some important information and details. So I know it's a parallelogram shaped, has a base of 21 and a half, and a height of 18. Okay, and then I have some sod pallets that are sold in 50 meters, 50 square meters. I need to figure out how many of those pallets do I need. Okay, so let's think of important details. So I need to know the formula for a parallelogram. Well, first let's go ahead and draw out parallelogram. All right, and my parallelogram always looks like a pink eraser. One of those pink pearl erasers, if you turn it over, it looks like that. So the base is 21 and a half, and the height is 18 meters. Okay, so my formula, area is equal to base times height. So I'm going to fill in what I know. Well, I don't know what my area is still. And I know my base is 21 and a half times 18. And when I multiply 21 and a half by 18, I get an area of 387. So 387 meters squared, or squared meters, is the amount that this field covers. Okay, now I got to cover it with sod. So I've got to take this area and take the pallets and basically place the sod on top of it. Now, you may be wondering what sod is, okay? Because a lot of my kids, when I asked them if they knew what sod was, they didn't know what that was. Sod pallet. So sod is basically like, well, it's grass. It's nothing but grass, and or turf if you think of it like turf. But here is what a pallet of sod would look like. It's basically just a stack of just pieces of like flat grass that you just lay down, and then you water it, and there's roots in there and they will take root into the ground. Okay, so that's what the sod is. So think, how many of these pallets will I need to cover that 387 squared meter field? Okay, let's get back to it. So if you think of it, I'm going to have to divide this up into the 50 square meters. So pallets. So I take the 387 and I divide it by 50. Okay, and put decimal and throw some numbers behind it. So 50 can't go into 3, can't go into 38, but can go into 387 7 times. So 7 times 5 gives me 350. Subtract, I'm left with 37. Bring it down. 7 times 50 gives me 350. I'm left with 20 then, and I'm going to bring down my 0. And 50 times 4 gives me 200 exactly. So I need 7 and 74 hundredths of a pallet. But if you go to the store or if you ask, they're going to look at you and like, you need 74 hundredths of a pallet, so you need to round up and put it as 8 pallets. Okay, you need to put it as 8 pallets. Because they're not going to sit there and break down a pallet for you. You're going to have to purchase an 8. So if you look at the questions, like say if this was a question on a test, that you're going to probably more than likely have to round up to make it an 8 pallets. Okay? And that does it for the notes. Now let's go to our Google Classroom. Just minimize that. Go to my classroom. Scroll up to the homework, which is 16.3. And what I'm encouraging you to do, and I really want everybody to get this going, is make sure you rewrite the formula. It's real easy to do it in Cami. You go to the formula page. Let's open this in Cami so you can see how I did it. It's loading. So it's fairly easy to do the formulas. Okay, so here, number 1, the front of an A for a house is shaped like a triangle. Keyword there, triangle. So if I come over here and I'm going to delete it. Okay, I'm going to show you how you do this. You come over, you grab your equation. Okay, you click on equation, make sure it's highlighted. I'm going to click, it makes a, so it makes an equation box. So area, I'll type A, equals 1/2 is 1. You're going to push the slash button, which is right next to the period and the shift. 2, I'm going to move it over by pushing the little arrow to the right, base times height. Okay, so then how I would solve this, again, area, well, I know what my area is, which is 600, equal to 1/2. I can even push a space bar and it moves it over. The height of the house is 200, so I'm going to open parentheses and I can put 200, close parentheses. What's the base? Okay, and then you can solve it from there. Make sure if you click on the equation bar, it will work each and every time. All right, so that does it for me today. That was just kind of a little tutorial quick trick. Please make sure that you get going on your homework. Make sure you have all assignments turned in. Anything late, make sure you're catching up on your iExcel and your Prodigy. I will see you later. Bye.